Let me know when we're on.
We on.
I'll just wait 1 minute then. Hello, everybody. I'll just wait 1 minute to start exactly on time. Thank you. Okay, let's begin. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining this Rapaport webinar. The situation is quite serious. I'm quite concerned. We've now just seen 3,000 deaths in the United States. And I just hope everybody should be healthy and we should be all careful. And we should, I know myself, I'm speaking to you from Jerusalem. And
just share your screen, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Let's see how we do that. Okay. Thank you. Are we okay now? We shared screens?
Yep.
We're fine.
Okay. I'm speaking to you from Jerusalem, and I haven't been out of the house in about 5-6 days. And the situation is quite worrisome, and it's more important than business. And so I just hope everybody is careful, very careful. I know in our case here, my son is home, and he's actually separated the outside world from the house. So whatever we're doing in the house has become very carefully done, and people take off their shoes, they take off their coats. If I'm touching my face, as you will see, I will use my handkerchief. And, I'm just saying, I wish everybody should be well and be very, very careful. This is an incredible, invisible disease. It's a killer. So I wish everybody well, and I just encourage everybody to be careful. And we have to take on also a relatively serious mode, but we also have to live on, and we also have to move forward. Now, I'm going to speak today in a pretty easygoing manner. I'm sure some people will try to say, but he said this little thing, or he said that little thing. But I'm not going to be careful and afraid to say what I think when it comes to the transparency about the Rapaport price list. So do bear with me and recognize that nothing is exactly perfect, but we're going to really do some serious communicating today. We'll do an introduction. I'll make a couple of statements. We will talk about diamond prices in general, the idea of what kind of prices exist, and then we'll talk about the Rapaport price list. We'll talk about the way forward. We'll mention the boycott issue, and then we'll come to a brief conclusion. First of all, let's try to understand that, and I'll just read this out at the beginning so you understand, but the price reductions of the Rapaport price list on March 20th upset many in the trade. And I'm really sorry about that, but it happened and we had to do it. Unfortunately, a highly volatile global economic crisis set the stage for lower prices with severe declines in early March. Following an optimistic January, diamond prices came under increasing pressure as reports of the coronavirus spread in China. We didn't know what was happening really. We didn't imagine that we'd have to stay in our homes locked up like this because it was there. It was China. It wasn't us. It wasn't where we were. We didn't imagine it. But it happened. And then reductions in asking prices continued. Okay, so the markets weren't doing well. And then escalated rapidly as Western countries outside China implemented quarantines and travel restrictions. So we had this thing that hit us. And if you take a look at the S&P 500, you can kind of see what happened here. It was kind of okay. Yeah, something's happening. But out here in February, even as it's like February 19th, even, no big deal. Everybody was, chilling. They didn't get upset or anything. But then a little bang, and then boom. So this S&P 500, and this is the world I'm looking at on March 18th as well. Um, Bang, 24%, 29%, then 24%. So this was a pretty strong shock that really if I put up this graph for a couple of years, you'd notice this. And then if we take a look at Signet also, now Signet had its own problems, but if we look from 2020, so it's about over here. So they were, coming back once they were over 100 even, but then bang, 64% back. Wow. And so there was a shift, there was a change in the world, and there was a change in how people perceive things. And this is where we started to feel the asking prices really started to deteriorate quite a bit while people could still sell, while people could still do business. Now, while there was a consensus that diamond prices, in fact, declined in February and March, there was a strong condemnation from suppliers that the timing of our price reduction was wrong. Now, look, this idea that our price reduction was wrong, I'm going to talk a lot about that later, but the fundamental concept is prices went down. Now, you can argue if prices go down, you should not reflect them. You should deflect them. You should go down later. But I'll make the point later, and I'll make it again now, that delaying a price decline is extremely dangerous, especially when it's sharp, and especially when we see it's moving into a consistent period, because what would I do? Go down with prices later, say a lot of people. And then, my God, just as the market's coming up, as the Chinese are getting out of bed quite literally, then we're going to take a look and then hit them with a price decrease? No, that cannot happen. And you'll see as I talk here, there's a number of reasons why it made a lot of sense to go down when we did. Now, many suppliers demanded that we recall the March 20th price list out of a desire to prevent a loss of confidence in the trade and maintain the illusion that prices had not declined. Unfortunately, we could not do this because prices had in fact declined. Furthermore, and you'll see this as big as we'll discuss it, discounts had grown to an unprecedented levels that threatened the honesty of the Rapaport price list. And I'll always say this, you got to think about the buyers too, not just the sellers. And therefore, when you're in an environment where the prices have gone down and you don't go down, then I'm going to be looking and saying, well, what are we doing here? Why are we lying to people? And you'll see as I show you some of the data that it was really outstanding, and not even a question. Now, the conflict between reporting prices and creating negative market sentiment creates significant problems for the trade and Rapaport. So, don't go down, don't say it. Then the people are going to feel bad. In times of crisis, whenever we report lower prices, we are highly criticized with demands that we do not publish lower prices. And this has been going on for decades. 42 years of publishing, and 2008, no, everybody's fighting and yelling. So it's a normal thing. But I want to tell everybody, my heart goes out to people because this is difficult. It's a difficult time. It's difficult not just because the coronavirus, which is the most important thing, but it's difficult because prices going down, and how do you feel, and what's going to happen, and you can't sell, and all of that. So it's tough. And I'm sorry that we have to go down, but that's what we have to do. Now, the advent of the coronavirus has created such a crisis. There are calls for a total boycott of Rapaport services. Many in the supply side of the trade have taken the position that Rapaport Group must be destroyed because an independent opinion reporting lower prices cannot be tolerated. And that's just the way it is. The big issue here is transparent competition, transparent pricing, transparency not being good for the industry. And there's a lot of strong feelings about this, emotional feelings even. The question of whether or not a benchmark price list is good or bad for the diamond trade has been debated for the 42 years that we have been publishing the Rapaport price list. It should be clear that our independent benchmark Rapaport price list, and we'll talk about benchmarks soon, must reflect the realities of the market when prices fall, even when such benchmark reporting has a negative impact on market sentiment. And so to be clear, we can't sit here and tell everybody everything's okay when it's not. And we can't deny being transparent about drops in prices. In any case, here's the thing. In any case, there is now a war against Rapaport for reporting lower prices during a time of crisis. So this is very emotional. A lot of people, hundreds, 500, 600 people, very angry, calling for boycotts. It is important to note that many reasonable suppliers recognize the need for the Rapaport price list. And what I mean by that is they also recognize the need for a numeric prices or a benchmark price. But they want greater transparency about the process. They want to know, what are our pricing policy guidelines? When do we go down? Why do we go down? And they want to get a reasonable understanding of how decisions are made. Now that's reasonable. And I want to tell you something. I believe these requests are reasonable. And the time has come to make changes in how the Rapaport group reports diamond prices. While we will not in any way reduce our independence, I mean, we're not going to say to the diamond trade, okay, you guys, you set the prices, you tell the world where prices are. It's not going to happen at all. We will make changes that increase reporting of discounts, define guidelines for price changes, and reschedule the frequency of price lists. So we're going to make some big changes, and we're releasing that now, and we're going to let you know about it right now. So what's going on here? What are we going to do that's different, and why and how? And we will discuss this in this presentation. So first of all, the Rapaport price list, as we know it, is going to be published monthly. And that's important because of a lot of reasons. I can give you one short one, is that we were always afraid, and we'll mention this later, that we change the price list, people may go up or down, then we change it again, and then people anticipate another change. Also the idea that we're chasing our tail. We do something, the trade does something, then we pick up on what the trade does, and then we reinforce it. That needs to stop, and we want to give a breather here in terms of how this monthly price sheets work also, for a lot of other reasons we'll talk about. The other thing is, we're going to introduce a RapNet trade sheet, and we'll show you what it looks like later, which will be published weekly. So we'll actually show you with this trade sheet what the discounts are for diamonds on RapNet. And that's not going to be Martin Rapaport or the Rapaport group or the Rapaport team's opinion. No opinion, as you'll see, we'll talk about. That's just where the data sits. That's the second thing. So we're going to give you more information, or give the market more information, but very specific information about different qualities. And it'll also be available online in real time for RapNet members. So they'll be able to see what exactly are those discounts at any given time. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to, and this is really important, we're going to publish the discount ranges so people can understand what's going on. So the initial discount range for A3 specifications, and there's some discussions about whether we should change it because A3 includes the fate fluorescence, but that range would be 30 to 40%. So when we make the Rapaport price list, we're going to take a look and see what are the actual discounts on RapNet, and then we will be in the 30 to 40 range. Now, because of the Corona crisis, we'll go to a 30 to 45 range, which means basically if you're at 40 below, and maybe in the Corona crisis period, 45 below, we won't go down, okay? But if you're 28, 25 below, we'll go up. So people are going to start to understand, why does the price sheet move at any times? And you'll be able to watch the market get us to the point where we would be making these changes. Now, it's possible we'll have other Rapaport specifications. There's discussions about doing A2s, which are without faint blue. And if we do that, then we may have different discount ranges. But we will be publishing this. People will be able to see what the ranges are. And then finally, we're going to introduce an advisory board who can come along and they can advise us, and they can have some representation from the trade as well and say, hey, you know, you should have gone up because we believe these diamonds are at a discount level of 25, 28 or something, or you should go down, this is at 48 or 47. So these ideas of changing the world, and what I'm saying is monthly Rapaport price list, trade sheet with discount prices distributed weekly and online in real time, the Rapaport price list ranges, so you know pretty much when and how things are going to happen as prices come down or not, and the idea of an advisory board that will be able to interface with us and give us a lot of input and communicate what they think is going on. Now, the advisory board will not control the price list, but they will have a voice. They will have a very good high level of communication with us about what's going on. Now, excuse me, you can see I'm using my handkerchief here. I'm not supposed to touch my face. Okay. Now we're going to discuss various types of diamond prices and the role of the benchmark prices. We received over 500 emails. What are you doing, Rapaport? Why did you go down? And there's no transaction prices and stuff. And we're going to raise and deal with all these issues. But first of all, we need to understand what kind of prices exist. We will then provide insight into what the Rapaport price list is based on and why and when we change prices. We will also discuss the numerous complaints and suggestions raised by the trade. And there will be a QA period later. You'll have to type it in though. And finally, we will announce, which we've just announced, the important changes to the Rapaport list and how we will be reporting prices in the future. So we'll go over that again. Now, first of all, let's try to understand exactly what's going on with diamond prices. First of all, it's obvious to people that, well, maybe I'll start with this benchmark numeric prices. What is the Rapaport price list prices? So we would take a look at the market and we would say, what is a price level that's high enough, like an umbrella, and that all prices will in fact fit in under this umbrella? How can we quote a price which is a suggested price? It's a price that it clears all markets. That's how high it is, okay? And it's based on asking prices, asking prices. Now let's take a look and try to understand, right? So you have asking prices, so a guy offers a diamond, he wants $10,000, right? You have a bid price, the guy offers $9,000. Then you have a transaction price, the person will give you $9,500. Now those prices seem very interesting, but they're highly complicated by the fact that there is bundling. Someone that buys $10 million worth of diamonds in Moscow creates a transaction price. Someone that buys one diamond in a jewelry store on Rodeo Drive, California as a consumer also generates a transaction price. But there are different terms and conditions, there are different markets. Someone that buys diamonds on memo pays after 60 days and can return it after Christmas. That's an entirely different price than someone that buys a diamond straight out for a check, bang, let's do a deal. So when we look at transactions prices, there's a very complicated bundling effect. Now, that's fine, because that's where we come in as experts and understand these things. But the fundamental basis of the Rapaport price sheet is asking prices. And not just asking prices, but as you'll see, high asking prices. So when you take a look at this Rapaport price list, the physical piece of paper, and you look at the top, in capital letters it says, approximate high cash asking price indications. We're trying to give the market a benchmark price that everybody can use because it's high enough that everybody can fit under this umbrella. Now, also at the bottom of every price list, prices in this report reflect our opinion of high cash asking prices. Again, it doesn't say transaction prices there. These prices are often discounted and may be substantially higher than actual transaction prices. They usually are. And in some instances, they reflect, you might even say, consumer prices, as you'll see. But that's what they are. So the Rapaport price list is not based on transactions prices. It's based on asking prices, or our opinion of asking prices. And you got to understand here, opinion, the opinion of the Rapaport team, reflect our opinion. Okay, whoops, let me just go back over there. Reflects an opinion. It's not perfect, okay? But it's as good as we can come to using the expertise we have, and we'll discuss that as well. All right. So what are high cash asking prices? So I say they're prices that clear all markets. And not only that, but they're numérière prices. Numérière is an ancient French economic term that refers to the kind of a standard that people trade off using discounts, like people do for the Rapaport price list. Okay, 20 below, 30 below, 10 below, love to see that, 50 below, I don't like that. So the idea that you're relating to some kind of a standard price that you can interface with. So how do we come up with these asking prices? What do we do? Well, first of all, we're looking at everything. So you're talking about expert observations from numerous sources. And we might, for example, every Wednesday at 2 o'clock New Year, 2 o'clock Israel time, excuse me, still coffee. So every every Wednesday, 2 o'clock, we'll get on the phone and have a Zoom like this with Hong Kong, Mumbai, Surat, Antwerp, Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan, New York, on the phone together. What did you hear about the market? Who did you talk to? What did you feel what's going on? Now that's very general kind of a survey-ish kind of information. But we'll also look at RapNet and we'll look at other trading networks or other sources of information. We'll communicate directly with traders to say what's going on, how's the market, what's happening. And there's a lot of internet data out there, as you'll soon see. And we'll look at everything we can look at. Now, you'll see that the role of the expert is over here is going to be to try to understand what's happening, to come to this Rapaport asking price or high asking price. And we look at information. So let's say we have someone who sold a diamond, but it's, 90 days, or it's on memo. There's a distinct difference between memo prices and cash trading prices, for example. So we'll try to debundle the information to understand what's happening. We'll apply premiums and discounts to raw data based on our understanding. This is the opinion of the Rapaport team, our understanding of what does it mean when someone says, I just sold this kind of diamond on memo, okay? Or someone says, I just bought this kind of diamond on memo. We'll be looking at liquidity, and we'll be looking at the number of diamonds in various types and classifications and characteristics. We will be considering also the aspect of the diamond. So medium blues are wildly cheaper than regular stuff. So we use a Rapaport specification A3, which does incorporate fame. We'll be looking at things where people say this has BGM, it doesn't have BGM. There's a lot of things happening about prices that relate to, I would call it on one hand bundling when you're talking about terms and conditions of sale or the market you're in, say a wholesale market like Russia or maybe the Israel Diamond Exchange or the Surat market versus a retail market in Cleveland. So there's differences there, and that's differences in the markets. And then there's differences in the specific quality of the goods. So you might see certain diamonds offered very cheap on RapNet, best prices, and it's a SI1 with a big black imperfection. So you have to consider the goods, at least you talk about them, you understand, and you also have to consider the markets and the terms and conditions of sale. All those things get bundled in when we're looking at transaction prices. But we don't just look at transaction prices, we look at asking prices. We can see what's being offered on various trading networks. And then we do discount analysis as well, which lets us understand how these discounts all work out against each other. That's part of it. And we'll look at characters today, and I'll take you in a little deeper. But a big part of this is the structure. And in some instances, we don't have an asking price for a specific item, often in bigger stones or in different types of situations. And here we start doing extrapolation and stuff like that. For example, let's talk about an FVS1 carat diamond. Well, we do have a lot of data there, but let's think about how we do extrapolation and what that means. So we might look at that FVS1 and say, well, it's definitely going to be cheaper than a EVS1. It's going to be more than a GVS1. It's going to be less than an FEVS2, and it's going to be more than an FVS2. So a diamond price essentially will sit within a range of surrounding prices. And not just that, if it's a 130, it might be different than a 1 carat, 150, it'll be more than a 1 carat, or 90, less than a 1 carat. So you see this idea of what is the asking price range that it can be, what is the structure of diamond prices, it's going to have a lot to do with other things in the neighborhood, so to speak. And in some instances, we'll be applying percentages. We'll say, well, you don't see the price for a 4 carat or whatever this might be, but we know or we believe that there's a X percentage difference between 3 carats and 4 carats, and there's maybe a discount between 5 carats and 4 carats, and we will estimate. We will use our expertise or our opinion to estimate where would the price for that 4 carat be based on things happening around it. Now, we will be doing differential analysis. What's the difference in color between things, clarity between things, size between things? And we'll also be looking at all these percentage estimations in terms of how is the market treating certain things. And we'll understand that sometimes there's shortages in certain things, we'll be able to identify stuff. So there's quite a bit of things going into the Rapaport high cash asking price price list, or as you would say, the benchmark price. That's not just simply a push a button, whatever happens with RapNet or someplace else is here. Now, there are many instances where, in fact, you can communicate such a button. And that's why we talked about the 30 to 40% ranges. So you can have a lot of situations where we have lots of data about the asking prices for a Rapaport specification A3 plus diamond. And then we can take those specifications, we can look at them, we can look at the prices in Rapid, as I'll show you soon, and then we can say, okay, we're clear, we understand where these high cash asking prices are, and we're comfortable, and we can just go ahead without doing a lot of analysis. But the differential analysis is, I must say, very important as to understanding how and where prices fall, and also how they move. Now, it's important to understand that there's a couple of things happening here, okay, when we think about changing prices and what's going on. First of all, there's the trend. Did prices change over a period of time? Now, some people are very upset. They say, what are you doing? How could you go down? There's no transactions now. But when we change a price in the Rapaport price list, we're not looking at what happened today or even this week. We're looking at what happened from the last time we changed prices. How did it move? Where did it go? What's been happening over here? And a lot of times we're very conservative about changing prices. You know, given what we would like, we'd rather not to. If you understand, 2018, we changed prices 5 times. In 2019, 8 times. And so far in 2022, 20 times, 2 times. So we're not jumping around like crazy people on this Rapaport price list for this benchmark price. And we understand that it's okay because people do have relational discounts and different people look at their stone, they have this discount, different markets, like I explained earlier. There's all these bundling issues, the markets and stuff. But so we look at these, but we're looking at trends. We're looking at what's happening. And then we're looking at discount levels. Now, it's very important, and discounts are usually important, and we're going to talk about them in the next few moments. Regarding trends, we have to be careful not to lead the market. So we watch, we wait, we see something happen. And then we watch a little bit more. And we wait a little bit more. And we tend to err to the side of caution before we move prices around. And that's created a bit of a problem here, which is one of the reasons we're now going to a more structured, when do we move prices in the 30 to 40% discount range. But in any case, we want to wait to be sure. And we also have to be very careful that when we move prices, we're not making a change in the market, up or down, and then catching that change and considering that to be another change. And therefore we create a cycle of what we call chasing the tail. So, and that's the reason, by the way, we're very happy to start publishing the Rapaport price list once a month, because that'll ease up on that issue. So we're not going to have that chasing of the tail. And you know, a lot of people would come to you and say, well, why don't you just go down, 2% a month, 2% a week, and then why make these big moves? And we've had a lot of experience here in the past where we did go to 2% a month to say, well, take it easy. But then a cycle of expectations of additional downward or upward movement developed, and that became very, very bad. And so we felt that it was much better to go down fewer times, to go down more significantly, and just get the change over with, so the change isn't making noise, which creates more change. Now, so that's the idea of trends, and I'll show you some trends here about what's happening now. Discounts. Discounts start to become very, very important, and to understand the relationship what's happening in the market. Now, how high is too high? You'll see soon that I could not handle this discount level above 50, and there's a question of honesty here, but the discounts are looked at all the time. And you have to maintain credibility and fairness. Now, a lot of people said to me, okay, publish the price sheet once a year and let the discounts take care of everything. But that's not taking into consideration how buyers use the price sheet and how buyers rely on the price sheet to give them information, to give them confidence. And so you can't have a situation where you do a price sheet once a year and then the market goes down, as it has now recently, and everyone knows the market goes down. They watch all these other indicators, the stock market and I don't know, any other market that you would look at today, and they see things have come down and they say, well, what's happening? Oh, nothing, it's okay. All you buyers just make believe everything's okay. Cannot happen. And there's an issue of honesty and credibility and fairness here. And we have to take the buyer's perspective and the buyer's needs. And a lot of the things that I've been looking at from a lot of the people in the trade, and they have sent me all these emails, and we're trying to respond here, and we will raise those issues and be very transparent. I'm trying my best. But you got to understand things from the buyer's perspective, and a lot of people don't. They just say, "Well, we're dealers, and we use the price sheet, or we're some manufacturers, and it has to meet our needs." But no, the Rapaport price list has to meet the needs of the buyers. It's fundamental to the ability to have a benchmark price that is meaningful to the diamond trade because it crosses both the buyers and the sellers. It's in the middle, or it's in a place where both people can relate to. Now, why did we change indications in May 20th? And why? Just leave things alone, Mr. Rapaport. Go to sleep. Don't bother everybody. Now everybody's upset about coronavirus, like they should, coronavirus. But what's going on here? So first of all, we looked at asking price trends and not transaction prices. Transaction prices fall all over the place. So people are not making transactions. It's not going to freak us out. And we will look and say, okay, when's the last time we changed prices? And is this change general? Is the thing that's happening in the world now, is it specific? Like sometimes you'd say, okay, there's certain types of goods that are purchased in China, 30-pointers, FESs, stuff like that. And there might be that universe, that world of stuff. And then there might be certain bigger stones that are world. By the way, there was just a very good auction that just took place. A very good Christie's auction online and everything. So things are happening. So there's different markets for different things. And so you might say, okay, this change now only affects this market. But we're looking at something now with this impact of the coronavirus and the impact of the stock market movements and everything. This isn't a little thing in one place. In any case, we look at the trends, and then we look and we see huge, huge discounts. Well, let me tell you, and I'll show you that in a minute. The discounts to the Rapaport price list were unacceptable. They grew and they grew, and they got to the point where we can't work. So let's take a look at a little bit of the changes. Now, we look for a long time when we look at changes. This is actually going to beginning of 19, but you can see 17%, this percent, that percent. But you can see prices, in fact, changed a lot over that year, and we didn't actually capture all those declines. Okay, so you'll see that the discount just kept growing. We looked at recent stuff, and this was stuff leading up to the change, and these were stuff that we were able to see clearly in RapNet, but also the asking prices in RapNet were also discounted later when people sold below the prices in RapNet, and that happens a lot of times as well. So we're looking at things and we're seeing, yes, diamond prices are definitely going down. And like I showed you before in that graph of the S&P 5, it ran and then it boom. It ran and then it boom. The boom caught us by surprise a little bit, the industry by surprise a little bit, but that was real stuff happening in real time in a period of like 2 weeks. So what am I looking at? I'm sitting here before this price list is coming out, and I'm saying, what am I seeing? Now, I'm seeing some interesting stuff, and this was from the 14th still. First of all, the best prices. Now, we look at best prices because we want to get an idea what's the cheapest price on RapNet for Rapaport specification, A3. Okay, and looking, oh my gosh, defaults A, 55, 54 below, 53 below, KI ones even. Okay. And then we said, you know what? Those prices, those best prices, maybe it's a crazy stone. Maybe it's something that is not normal. And why don't we look a little bit deeper, a little better? And by the way, when we talked before about all these ideas of linking and having discounts, and if it's better than 30 below, we would go up, and worse than 45 below now, or 40 below, we would go down. So we look now. What we look at, and we've looked at all the time, is we take the 10% of the least expensive stones. So let's say we have, FES2, 300 stones. Right? So we would take a look at that and say, okay, take 30 stones, 10% of the 300, and say, what are the 30 best price stones? And what is the average of those 30, of those 10%, those 30 stones? What's the average price? And that gives us a pretty clear indication as to where is the market and where could you actually get a stone. I always say to my guys, what could you put a stone on the table for? What are you confident you could put a stone on the table for? And now, those prices also reached 47, 45, 45. You see these high levels of discount. And this is not a good situation going into the coronavirus scenarios. So and it's a team here. It's not just Martin Rapaport. We got really good people here. We're economists. We're looking at data. We're really doing our job. We're looking at this and going, I don't know, man. This looks a little scary. Then we looked at the discounts. So this is, by the way, the discounts afterwards. We'll talk about that later. But these are, let's see, these are RapNet discounts, 328. So this is 319. This is what I'm seeing the morning that we're about to make the price list change. This is what the world looks like to us. And these are characters where we really do have a lot of data and we can see what's really going on. And 50 below, you guys, a minute here. 50 below going into downward moving market. Okay. Don't change prices. Yeah. Go back to this, let's say. People would say to me, no, go back. Don't do this new price. Let's go back. And we're at 50 below. And you'll see what that means when we really look at the movements of discounts long term. So this created a lot of problems. And now I look at it, I'm still below, but we're going to come up with the idea of more than 45. So even if we do have to go down, it won't be that much in May, hopefully, but we'll be looking at data. Now, look at Blue Nile. She said, okay, Rapaport, you're crazy. You're giving us these low prices. You're going down. Give me a break. Here's Blue Nile selling to consumers, and they're at 37 or 32 below the Rapaport price indicators. What kind of prices is this? I mean, consumers can go online, they can use a Blue Nile prices, and they can see what's happening. And these are also the same standard. This is not goods with medium blue, strong blue. Like you really see the cheap stuff on Blue Nile. Let's hold it a minute here. What the hell's going on? How high are we? Can we retain this? Can we sustain this? Can we go into a downward moving market and say, oh, diamond prices are moving even lower and we're just taking a smile over here and make believe nothing's happening? And we can't do that. And if you look at the trends of what's going on here, the blue line is the Rapaport price list. And the orange line is the prices that we look on at RapNet prices. And you can see this gap here, just growing, growing, growing. And it tends to the point where I look up at the morning and say, am I being honest about what the hell is going on? And then we look at what's been happening in terms of this. Let me just kind of put this on the side. Yeah, we're looking at this thing. I hope you don't see me on the screen. And we see, look at this stuff. Even in the worst of times, the prices went down to 15, the 14. It went down, it came back up, 40, 40, 40, 40, 50. But now, look at this great, and then boom, up here. And look at this curve, this kind of curve going up 74 to 83, 11%. Not sustainable. That means there's an 83% difference between the RapNet prices and the Rapaport price list prices. Too big. I just can't do it. I can't get up in the morning and tell the world, my name's on the price list, and the guys, it's fine. It isn't fine. And even after we came down, so we came to 78. Okay. Now, does that mean we're going to keep going down? I don't know. I don't think so. We'll see what happens. But at some point, we start looking at goods at 50, 44 below from Blue Nile or 50 below. We start looking at those discounts. We say, excuse me, we have to have a basis for doing this, which is why we're also changing the way we do the price list so that everyone can expect this. They can see when you're more than 45 below, you should know and expect Rapaport to drop the next price list. And when we're discounts are less, you can expect us to go up. So I think that that's also going to address this issue of putting ourselves in a certain box, in a certain range of acceptability. And I have to consider this. I cannot ignore the fact of this increase of these discounts and how the whole world is working, because it directly affects our honesty. What are we telling people? What are we communicating to buyers? Where do buyers say, hey, stop telling me all this nonsense? We lose credibility. We lose honesty. It's just not what I can do. Now, there's been a couple of interesting issues that came up. Like, why not publish one price list per year? Because it doesn't take care of buyers. It doesn't take care of consumers. It doesn't care if people say, I'd like to know something about prices. They're not going to be experts on discounts. Why don't you wait to drop the list? Interesting. And everyone is really angry about that. I mean, they are really upset at me. I mean, I am in a situation here where tremendous, blacklists and boycotts, and the whole industry is united, What are you crazy? How could you go down? And how could I not? And let me explain to you why I couldn't wait. One reason not to wait is because buyers expect the prices to come down before they buy. Let's assume the Chinese are going to come back into the market, which I really believe and hope they will. And let's assume it'll be in weeks. Now, as they're coming back into the market, bang, let's hit them in the head. Lower the prices, Rapaport. No, I can't do that. It's wrong. Another thing, they're waiting. They're saying, I'm not going to buy until I see the Rapaport prices come down because I know it's going to come down because we know the market got weaker. So they're waiting. I don't want buyers to wait now. We're dying for liquidity. We want people to buy. We want to give them a reason to buy. And anyone that thinks that a buyer doesn't think about it's a good price to buy. I know there's a mentality in the diamond industry where saying prices went down, let's hide under our bed. But in fact, buyers, and there are buyers, they want to get a reasonable price. You lower the price, they buy. Another very important factor is, and I know people get very upset at me for saying this, the best time to go down with prices is when there is no market. You're not selling anything. The price went down rapidly. Now, it's a psychological hit, and you feel bad, and I feel bad that you feel bad. I really do. I understand that, and I'm not insensitive to everybody's, concerns. Man, you made me really feel bad, and I hate you, Rapaport, for that. I understand that, and I have empathy. I feel bad for everybody, but we need to have a market. We need to be honest about the prices. So that bad feeling versus the Chinese coming back into the market. Now, if the price went down and no one's trading, or you're not trading, why are you going crazy? What happened to you? Did it cause the market now to change? No, not for you. So yeah, we have to reflect reality, and I must say that I really, really feel bad for people that are in this terrible situation right now. And I'm also in a terrible situation where we got 230 employees all working from home. We have people in India, we don't know what's going to happen with them. We got people in New York who are totally freaked out. 3,000 deaths in the United States right now. New York is like an epicenter. I haven't left my house in 5 or 6 days. All of our teams are working. So, this is not something that, it's some other guy out there. No, I'm in this market as well. So the bottom line here is that when we go down with prices, there's a reason. And I'm sorry, I'm so sorry that it hurts people. But I don't have a choice if we're going to maintain an honest, credible price list or an honest, credible numeric price or honest, credible a benchmark price. It's not an option and say, market went down, we're not going down. Or we're just going to go back to the other price list. No, I don't care which price list people use. It's fine. Really, whoever is selling a diamond gets to make up his mind or her mind about what the price of the diamond should be. No interference. No, we don't care. We're not pushing. But I got to let the buyers know, hey guys, this is the Rapaport price list. So you can work with it. You can think of where you go, especially since we're so high. So why drop the prices when there's no transactions? Because we're not looking at the transactions of that week. We're looking at what happened from the last time we moved, and we're looking at asking prices. That's where we are, okay? So it's not a question of, there's no transactions, you can't change the Rapaport price list. You can't freeze the market, everybody. You can't tell the world to stop turning, okay? And the asking prices exist, the market exists. Even now, we talk to people, they are actually selling stuff in the most difficult of times. We went, and so we're doing an auction. And by the way, I have to really speak out against President, what's his name, Van der Linden over here, who says a couple of things. He says, number one is, it is once again claiming, it's Rapaport, it's not preaching to the industry, that the Rapaport group alone knows what is best for the interest of the industry. I'm not knowing what's best. I'm telling you what I think. You can use it, you cannot use it. But don't blame me if people respect the opinion that I give. And I'm not telling everybody what they have to do. I'm allowed to have an opinion. By the way, President Ronnie is going to be too. Let him make his own Ronnie price list. Let him go ahead. Let's see if he has the guts to do it. Okay? But the bottom line isn't me or Ronnie. The bottom line is shipping goods, doing transactions. And that's the reason I brought this up. So we have these goods, right? We're running an auction. And by the way, these ideas that we run auctions and therefore we change prices, it's nonsense. That's not the basis of the prices. First of all, most of the goods that we sell at auctions in Israel give parnassa, give a livelihood to hundreds or so people that they now have what to work on. And what they're doing is they're taking recycled goods from America and they're recutting. And that's great. And those are not A3 spec diamonds, and they're not close to it because they're being recut or refinished or refixed mostly because they're coming from appraisers and recyclers and people reselling diamonds. Mostly, not all, but mostly. So that nonsense, and I do have to also call out on Ronnie one more time when he says, conflict of interest. It's nonsense. It's not true. And I wish people, do this, especially the president, and stuff like that. They should be careful what they say. But in any case, the real issue here is, so we have a price list, and then we have an auction that ends Wednesday. It didn't end before the price moved. And then I can't move the goods. which was really a bummer. And we have these Israelis that are relying on the goods to make their living. And yes, they're still working in Israel even now, some people, legally with following rules, although I think everything's stopping pretty much. So we can't move goods. So we have an issue about that. But even if we can't move goods, there's still people selling goods. So we have to be careful about what we're doing. So why drop the prices, no transactions? And we're based on transaction rates. Now, shouldn't there be no list when in crisis? Now, that's an interesting question. So when there's difficult times, should we just fold up our umbrellas, crawl into our beds, which we have to do now because of the coronavirus, and say, no market? Now, there's a big fundamental difference, maybe between me and a lot of people. I believe diamonds have value. Diamonds are not just a luxury product. They're not like a pair of shoes or some kind of a handbag. Diamonds have to have value. They have to be a store of value in troubled times. So when things get difficult and you can get to somebody who can buy it, there has to be a market. Someone's got to give you money for them. They have value. And if you say to me, no, diamonds are just sparkly things. Okay, screw this business. Let's just sell cubic zirconia. Let's just sell synthetics. We have to have a product that we stand behind. So when there's a crisis, this crisis is different. It's health. There's no access. But my general belief is in a crisis is the most important time for people to effectively buy diamonds at cheap prices. I'm not telling you what price it should be. But there has to be liquidity. And I do not think it's right or it's capable of the industry to go, excuse me, times are tough, take your diamond and have a hike. Because if that's true, then we are now destroying one of the main reasons people buy diamonds or how they feel of diamonds, that diamonds are a store of value in troubled times. When you escape, Nazi Germany, or when you're in Iran and there's problems, or whatever you are, okay? Or you're in South Africa, you need to take money out. This story of diamonds being a store of value is fundamental to diamond demand, and I don't think it's correct to walk away from it, and therefore I don't think we should shut down the price list or even the industry when we have these tough times. And I don't think that, we really have to have an industry that can support. And remember, you make money if you buy cheap. You gotta have the guts, you have to have I'm not preaching to you, do what you want. But I'm looking at the market and I'm saying market should be able to buy. Some people make more money when prices go down than when they go up. So I mentioned these policies. So what am I doing about this? People are angry, and you'll see boycotts, but what am I actually doing about it? I'm going to review that again. Monthly price lists, not weekly. Everybody can breathe, inhale, exhale, get information from the market, you guys. Communicate with Rapaport, you guys. Let's see what's happening. Give people information for the duration. So we're not turning off the spigot of information about diamond prices. No. We're giving you accurate prices from RapNet about discounts, whatever we have. Bang, there it is. That's going to be coming out. And we're going to use the price that I said, which is the best price, and the 10% best prices, the average of the 10%. Then we're going to give you these ranges so everybody can know why and when is Rapaport likely to change prices. What's going on here? Is this arbitrary? Is this crazy? No, I'm telling you, you're going to see stuff more than 40 below, hopefully when the coronavirus goes away, or even now it's 45. You'll say, oh, it's 46, Rapaport's going to go down. And he probably will go down. It's not perfect because you might have certain price information that we're looking at that's not certain things that are not on RapNet, for example, or certain prices where we're doing our extrapolation and we're doing our expert stuff. But in general, you'll have a pretty consistent basis of understanding where are diamond prices relative to the Rapaport price list at any given day, or certainly once a week, and everybody will get the weekly. And also, when is he likely to move, or when is not me only, when is the price list, the indicator, this benchmark price, when is it likely to move? And what is the kind of a discount level that we should be expecting here? And we're going to put together an advisory board that can come to us and say, hey, you should know this item is 25 or 30 below. You got to go up here, or then you got to go down here, because now they got a benchmark and now they got a range, which is where it's supposed to be. And they can advise us and they can talk to us about this. So there's going to be a lot of this going on. Now, I see people raising your hands. You'll have to wait when it's done. We'll have a lot of time to answer questions. So this is what we're doing to react to the difficult times and also to recognize that the world changes. The world changes, and we have to be more transparent if we can be, which is also why I'm doing this talk today. So this is a cornerstone of where we're going. Now, we talked about a trade sheet. What is a trade sheet going to look like? Well, if you're looking at the trade sheet now, so you look at a D flawless, the best price would be something like 8,010. I believe this is live. I think it's pretty much from today or the next few days ago. And then you're at 8658, which is 48 below, which is the average price. Now, as you hear what I'm saying, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a 3% correction in the D flawless on the May 1 price list. Shouldn't freak anybody out. And now if you find something which is like 26 below, subject to the structures or something, we may end up going up. Okay, 30, 31 below, it was 30 to 25 below. Look at these M color I1s, what kind of I1s they are. But basically, we will have a range. We will have people we will talk to. We will look at what's, and you got to understand the prices isn't just Martin Rapaport. It's a team of people who are working as hard as they can day and night to make sure that we're getting things correct. So this is going to go out every week to people. And it'll also be available online in real time. Just let you see it a little bit bigger so you can actually see the numbers. So there's quite a bit going on around here. You might see some corrections as we go on. But again, I don't know which date exactly this is. So let's talk about where we're going. So first of all, this is a big change of the thing. We're going to announce it. We'll have a press release tomorrow. We'll let the world know what we're doing. And we also are going to have we have a Telegram site that we're setting up now that people can discuss and ask questions. We're going to have a robust environment of information. But let's talk about where we're going. So first of all, I believe the number one thing that we need to do as an industry and as Rapaport is to get back into market liquidity so people don't freeze up. A lot of guys are very upset. I wrote this letter. I said, the value of your inventory is replacement cost because you need to know how to trade in downward moving markets. And look, it is very likely that we will be in a downward moving market as the coronavirus continues, but there's no reason to freeze. The example, you buy a diamond for 10,000, it's sitting in your inventory, you can replace it for 7, and you get a customer for 8. It'd be a crime not to sell the diamond for 8 and replace it with the $7,000 stone. Crime. Now, I assume that you know how to make prices above market price because you have customers and you're doing something in this industry. You're adding value somehow. So you continue to add value. Markets may get a little tighter, but I once saw prices go down and people freeze. And I saw a number of very smart Indian companies take over the market, take over all the customers. So just realize when the dust settles, you'll have the same inventory, but you'll be making profit as the market's going down. So I encourage you to do that. But now let's see what we need to do. Shipping problems. I was talking about this auction in Israel. Right? Amazingly difficult because even now I don't getting the goods out, moving goods. So we're going to work on that. We're going to work on payment services, escrow services. We have people who have diamonds scattered all over the world. They don't know what to do today. We're going to provide diamond depository services with warehouse receipts so people can trade electronically. And I understand the world is not going to be the same after the coronavirus. The idea of digital trading, digital buying, digital teaching your kids, digital everything is going to become incredibly there. If we were looking at digital, okay, here's digital, it's going up a little, that's fine. But now, because of the coronavirus, because everybody's at home, because of how we're relying on Zoom, I bought Zoom stock, it went up 50%, crazy. But it's not a continuum change anymore. Now it's like Star Wars, warp speed, boom, bang, new space. And we're going to wake up in a very digital world over here. So being able to trade diamonds without seeing them, being able to, even in the old days, the Chinese would buy goods, GIA certified goods, boom, boom, boom. That's going to come back. So we'll be able to get actually better markets in many instances, but we need Rapaport to figure out how to help people to trade diamonds. We have this trade center that you can use and you can talk to and you can relate to. And we're working from home now, all of our people, but we will get back to offices as soon as possible. And buy request services, which you can say, this is what I need. Can you help me find it? And it's difficult today because, you got a guy and he can't go to the office. It's sitting in his safe in India or Surat or New York or wherever. So we now have to start getting ready for enabling people to find what they want. And you maybe even buy it now and then get delivery later. But that's going to be happening more and more. So that's a big issue, market liquidity. Anything we can do to push and to get market liquidity. And I don't care about the price. I really don't. Okay? I'm agnostic. And I'm against the higher price. I'm saying to you, trading, breathing. I think I told you the story about the banker. This banker says to me, he says, listen, he says, as long as my client is breathing, I don't bury them. As long as you're doing business, you're buying and you're selling somehow. Now, I understand you can't buy and sell now. You're at home and you should stay home, and I'm staying home, and that's okay. But when you can, don't freeze. I beg of you. It's vital. In any case, this idea of keeping the business going is important for everybody. Now, diamonds are a store of value in difficult times. I spoke about that. So trading diamonds digitally can lead to greater profits. We should have people in our industry who are capable of buying a diamond if it's dirt cheap. I'm looking at the estate jewelry business, and there's buyers, there's people with money, they're buying every day. They're getting better value now, they're getting better jewelry, they're getting cheaper prices, but they're buying. So if you see a really great deal, and these are the toughest of times, I think, buy low, sell high, Now, not everybody, a lot of people don't have money, but a lot of people do have money. So the idea that we can support a market is very important. And there's going to be millions of consumers interested in selling diamonds, not just buying them. And our industry somehow has gotten into this mindset of we just sell, but we need to buy. We need to buy diamonds from the consumers, from the market. Think about what's happening. All these people are unemployed. The United States is very generous. They gave us 2.5 times the monthly salary. So we're okay for 2.5 months. But what's going to happen here when people are unemployed and 2.5 months is over and they want to sell their jewelry because they need money? They got to get back to a normal post-corona life. Is the diamond industry going to turn their back on them and say, no, we're just buying rough at stupid prices? Rough at stupid prices. You know what? I'll just say that one more time. Makes me feel good. Rough at stupid prices. Or are we going to treat our customers correctly and buy from them? So we really need to think about, as an industry, making sure we take care of the consumers and the customers and all the goods coming back into the market. So there's going to be millions of consumers popping up, and really it's going to be a challenge for the industry to think about how do we make money. And they don't care that they're motivated sellers. The issue isn't whether it's a little higher or lower price. The issue is there a market? Is there someone that'll give them fair market value for their stuff? What is the RapNet view of the way forward? And I know, and I'm going to talk about all these boycotts and stuff, but we are going gangbusters. We are preparing to be able to service this industry in the most difficult of times. So one thing is that just yesterday, we launched a new version of RapNet that took us, 3 months to do, Sal? The ability to run your business from your home. Managing your customers. We have a now built-in CRM, a customer relationship management module. Managing your inventory. Sharing anything on RapNet via email. So let's say you're sitting here and you see a stone, say one guy, Blue Star, say, it's a good friend, he's still on RapNet, even all the people yelling and screaming, right? So you can then take that stone and ship it to a third party. Not ship it, but I mean, you can send an image of it, you can send the information. So you can share anything. And with God's help, before Passover, which is about a couple of weeks away, we hope, then 3 weeks away, you'll be able to do it on social media as well. Sharing information, sharing other people's stuff. And then buy requests. And I'm mentioning buy requests again very importantly because I believe that we're going to have to service people to find what they need at good prices and really help them. And we're going to be doing that. Even now, there's buy requests that are happening in the worst of times. So we need to think about those buy requests, and we need to help people to get what they need. Now, the bottom line in a lot of the stories about Rapaport going down with prices, 500 companies pulling diamonds off of RapNet. Again, I feel sorry. I feel bad for people because of the difficulties and the need to express themselves emotionally about what is going on here and why did Rapaport go down with the prices. I hope by now you understand I'm not going to sit here at 50, 55 below Rap and have whatever 83% differences. It's not going to happen. So I can justify, at least for myself, which is the most important, is my opinion, of why we go down with prices. But people are upset. And, I understand that. And I feel bad about it. And, but the underlying question is transparent competition, good or bad for the industry. Do we support it or not? And that's been my battle for 42 years. And the argument is when things are bad, stop with the transparent competition. And I say, no, have transparent competition, create the market. Don't worry about the price level. Worry about keeping the patient breathing. Worry about keeping trade going. Now, everybody should be free to trade any way they like, anywhere they like, however they like, whenever they like. That is my belief. And so if someone says, hey, I want to trade on this new the World Federation. That's great. I love that because I won't have to take all the heat. Right now, I'm like a heat sink for the diamond industry. Diamonds are a heat sink, right? They absorb heat. So now Rapaport, boom, it's all Rapaport's fault. And your buying prices are going down. He shouldn't tell people that they're going down or whatever. So, and there's also some reasons why you shouldn't go down, and it's very arbitrary, etc. I'm sorry, I got to go down if the market goes down, but it's great. World Federation of Diamond Brokers, if they're able to create a successful trading plan, good. It's a big market. There's room for everybody. They put on their stones on there, put it on Rapaport, put them wherever you want to put them. And then they'll also be able to report lower prices or higher prices. They'll be able to see what's going on as well. So anything that supports transparent competition, I am a fan of. It's very lonely where I sit, okay? And, I would be very happy to have other people have my price sheets if you want, do whatever you want to do. I don't see competition as a threat, okay? And as long as it's honest and straight, it's all wonderful. Now, boycotts are not fine, okay? Boycotts, and you say, oh, it's only because it affects you. No, any boycott's not good. I shouldn't say any. If you're boycotting goods from Merengue, it's okay. If you're boycotting goods that people get killed, blood diamonds, it's okay. If you're boycotting diamonds that are involved in money laundering, it's okay. But boycotts against participants in the industry, particularly here, you can have your views, but RapNet is a lifeline for people to get to customers. It was in 2008, it was in 2011. It's a lifeline. It gets your goods out there so you can get customers to buy it in difficult times. So, you don't like it, it's fine, I don't care, but not boycotting it. I'll explain to you what I mean. So I say it is time for the World Federation of Diamond Brokers and IDMA, and I want to say specifically, President Ronnie van der Linden of the International Diamond Manufacturers Association. It's time to speak out against boycott campaigns by the members of the organizations. Stop this boycotting. Stop it. Well, you don't want to stop it, fine. People come back to RapNet anyways because they need to sell their goods. But it's not a healthy thing. And I'll show you what I mean. This is on public telegram. This is the instruction. This is the beginning of the instructions. Remove all your inventory from RapNet. Cancel your subscriptions. Remove all ads from the magazine. No more participating in that's Rapaport auctions or conferences. No more sending goods to GI by using Rapaport services. Any servant given by Rapaport Group is banned. Now, for the killer part, to make sure no one will take advantage of the situation, we are all obliged that we will not do business whatsoever with companies that use any of his services. It's not like saying, I don't want to put my goods in RapNet because I don't feel good. No. I will blacklist anybody who does work with RapNet. That's not cool. That is not acceptable. And my ears are listening. I don't hear anybody saying this is not correct. I guess the leadership is incapable of kind of doing things, but I don't have a lot of, whatever. I'm not here to talk about the leadership. This is not going to work. It's not acceptable. So I'm asking people who are reasonable, who understand that we are in a position where we have to report lower prices, and who understand that when we do, we're getting whacked and, having a lot of problems with these diamond manufacturers. And a lot of them, if there's 1,000 people, 999 are saying they'll go down with prices, and one says, no, I have to tell the truth. Then what I get from Mr. van der Linden over here is once again, and Ms. Rapaport is once again claiming, if not preaching to the industry, that Rapaport and Rapaport alone knows what is best, what is in the best interest of the industry. I'm telling you, my friends, I'm not telling you what's best necessarily. I'm giving you my opinion. And I might be different than the other 999 people. And I guess that's why people trust me. But the bottom line is, I'm not perfect, and I'm not telling you alone. I would like to see Mr. Big Mouth Ronnie van der Linden come out with a Ronnie price list. I'd love to see it. I'd like to see what he does when prices come down, and I'd like to see if he's 50% discounting. Okay? But whatever it is, I think you need to understand it's not a war here. It's not going to solve any problems attacking me or attacking that one. We are in this small boat together, and we need to have liquidity. And we need to use trading networks, anybody's trading, all the trading networks. It's a big market, it's a big world, to move diamonds, okay? And if we move diamonds, we'll be fine. If we don't get liquidity and we move diamonds, I believe it could be, God forbid, very difficult. So let's chill out over here. And I am asking as a personal favor to the people who are listening to this webinar, who are buyers, please do business with RapNet suppliers. These guys are under tremendous pressure today. They're getting calls from hundreds of people, get off of RapNet, get off of RapNet. RapNet is providing transparent pricing. So please try to do business with RapNet members, RapNet suppliers. Through RapNet, without RapNet, please. We give you names if you want. I think of one guy, Blue Star. I think of another guy, Gold Star. These are guys I spoke to, but they're on the network. They're not leaving, okay? And there's about 1,000 people offering goods on RapNet right now. So please, if you're a buyer, I know you're not going to be able to buy right now, but please give your business to RapNet people. It's really important. Now, we're also doing a social media campaign, which we think is important for honest prices. And you go to Rapaport, that's rapaport.com/ by the way, honest prices. So that needs to be fixed. But you go to Rapaport.com, you can learn about it. So Rapaport.com, honest prices is a great place to go to. Now, we're also launching 2 new Telegram accounts. We've already seen some of these negative boycotters trying to jam in there, but don't worry, we'll clean that stuff up. But there's the Rapaport group, which is a Telegram account where we will speak, and it's not for discussion. And then there's a Rapaport discussion. We'll be putting a lot of information there. And people who are not polite or not correct, we're just going to lock them out of there. So visit and learn about the changes we are making, new services we're providing, ask questions about what's going on with the Rapaport price list. Reach out. We all need to reach out. Rapaport Group is here to help you during these difficult times. Our teams are all working from home, and we'll reach out to you, reach out to us, reach out to your suppliers, reach out to your customers. I think that this idea of using Zoom or WhatsApp or Skype, it's really important to do stuff. So don't isolate yourselves, but reach out. And I think that's going to be happening more and more. And you're going to see employees, even after coronavirus, they're going to work from home, and they're going to develop this all other way of doing business. Now, the coronavirus is going to have long-term impact on how we do business. We're just now setting this up. It may not be ready yet, so it's rapaport.com/videos. I gave a speech last Thursday, and I'm talking about the coronavirus and how dangerous it is and how important it is. And, one of the main things you got to think about, I didn't see it here yet, but it's the world today isn't about wealth. It's about health. And health is more important than wealth. I think you'll see it in a minute. And then we're going to try to do a webinar next week or not. We're going to start talking about China and where we see the beginning of a new market and the evolution of where things come. Okay, yeah, I did say these are difficult times, everybody. And the most important thing is to stay safe. And, it's hard and it's weird. And my son is training me that when I go outside, I come in, take off your shoes, take off your coat, really, gloves. You got to really differentiate between your home and the outside world. And you got to, our families and employees come first, so don't worry about money. God will give you money later. Health is more important than wealth. It's a new value in society, but it is also very personal to each of us as individuals. The world's going digital. So let's all use our time now when you're home hanging out. Learn as much as you can about digital business, inbound marketing, imaging, look at what's on the web, check out all kinds of competitors, see how people are actually making money today on the web and shipping with Federal Express. Federal Express is still working, by the way. But, safe is closed. So, I don't want to make you too crazy, but start thinking about what are you going to do when they open the doors? What are you going to do when we'll be able to, leave our homes? The coronavirus will pass, but the digital opportunities will become ever more important. So what we're seeing now is the future. And it's now by necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention, but those inventions are going to remain. Now, I know a lot of people in the trade are upset and they're very angry, and I'm sorry about that. I really am. And I wish that I was in another business sometimes, but I got to publish prices, and that's what I've been doing, and that's what people pay me for. And so it's kind of sad, and I am sorry. I really am. I'm really sorry about the fact that prices have come down and we report it. And I'm not angry at anybody, even those people that are trying to boycott me and stuff. I understand that it's difficult, and I pray. I really pray for people. I pray for people's health, and I pray for people's, they should be okay, and we should get through this. And during these difficult times, let's find ways to work together. Trying to do these webinars, doing stuff from my home, but let's think about how we can still come together. And some guys say, the greatest thing about this problem with the Rapaport prices is now the industry's united. And I guess, I've united the industry, which is a very good thing. At the same time, let's see if we can work in a bigger way to unite the industry and find ways even to work with Rapaport. And I believe in our industry. I want to make that clear. These are tough times. I've seen even tougher times. Well, I don't know. Health is a personal thing. but I've seen tougher times from the business perspective. And, we've got to support these ethical, transparent, competitive, and efficient markets. To me, it's the only way to go into the future. And we can't clamp down. Now, if you want to clamp down, clamp down. You want to just leave stuff in the safe, that's fine. Everybody can and should do what they want to do. And I'm not preaching to everybody, telling what you have to do, smarter than everybody else. I'm not. It's a marketplace. It's a marketplace of goods. It's a marketplace of ideas. It's a marketplace of people. And so that's fine. Everybody should do what they want to do. And I wish all of us success in what we do, okay? And again, I'm heartbroken in the extent that, here we have lower prices, but trust me that lower prices at this stage is probably a good thing because it'll attract buyers and that we have to be realistic. Well, this ends the formal part of this presentation. And I thank you all for having the patience. So what is it? We're now 1 hour and 8 minutes, and we will take questions. I think that Joshua here or...
Yeah, there's the questions. Yeah, you can see, open the Q&A.
So let me open my Q&A, 527 guys on this thing. And by the way, we've also been running on Facebook with a lot of people. So I will now not mumble the questions as I did at the earlier webinar, which we had today. The across-the-board price decline makes no sense. Certain categories and combinations were relatively strong. How can price list be honest if it doesn't show nuanced analysis among categories? But you're right that a downward movement like we made is across the board and readjusts the baseline. So if people were at a certain discount before, which was 25 below, maybe they'll be 25 below the new one or not. But with the forces that we saw causing the change in the market weren't just in specific areas. I kind of talked about that before. So it wasn't like, okay, only China's not buying 30 pointers or only one Carat. You look at something like Signet, which is a great company. I wish them good luck, but their market cap's around $500 million now. And, they're not buying diamonds, my friends. They're not going to buy any diamonds in all categories. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And they're going to be selling diamonds probably. So when we look at these kinds of overwhelmingly large things, we're going to be talking about the kind of correction that you see now, which is not usual. We've done it before, but it's not that usual. But the thing that's hitting us isn't the little poke. It's a larger picture of change. Why don't you just report the level of discounts? Why do you change? Why don't you just report the level of discounts? Why do you change the price to maintain a static discount? That is price fixing. Ooh, okay. Why wouldn't reporting discounts maintain the honesty of the price list? The price list is fixed. The only thing that should change is reporting the discounts. After all, you do that with oversizes and a fancy list and all kinds of things. There are different discounts for different shapes. It's not a uniform discount in fancies, and yet the price list is one of these shapes. Now, I did try to explain this earlier. Discounts are fine, and you might be able to trade off of discounts, and we are going to be pushing out more discount information. It's number 2 on the 4 things that we're doing, which is to provide you with the RapNet trade sheet every week and online. So we're going to be big on letting you know the discounts. Again, picture the buyers, and this is the problem. You got to see the buyers. Here's a jeweler. You want to tell him that the price is such that there's an 80% discount? You think that's okay? Not with my name on the sheet of paper. It has to be within reason. You have to have an umbrella price as a benchmark, but not a price that just is way out there, Now, you might be able to work with discounts, but what about the other guy? What about the consumer? What about the jeweler? What about other people looking at the price sheet? So there's no question in my mind that discount information is valuable. Discount information can and should be used, but discount information is insufficient for the purposes of a benchmark numeric price. Okay, so yeah, you think about things from your perspective, and I want to say a lot of very respectable and smart people have brought up this issue. I got a lot of respect for that. I just can't agree with it because I'm looking at buyers and I'm looking at a price list that everybody can use as a price list, as a benchmark. Okay, gold went up. It did go up, then it came down, and I would love to see diamonds going up like gold. And I think, what is the difference? Does gold have a transparent liquid market? Yes. When gold prices go down and there's this, does everyone run hide under their bed? No. So gold has a market, and I pray that one day diamonds will have a bid-ask market just like this. And I've been trying to do it for 30 years. I haven't succeeded yet, but I'll never give up. So yes, gold went up, and I think diamonds should go up. But again, even gold
It went up, then it came down 1%. So there's issues there. But I agree. Gold is a market, and we should do it. Why not form a committee with the industry, other bourses around the world to manage the price list only? Well, one problem here is that if people own diamonds, and look what happened here, right? All the suppliers say, go back to the price list, don't go down with prices, even though the world's crashing around you, even though the discounts are crazy, even though go up, go up, go up. I'm sorry, the suppliers are nice people, but they're blinded by their huge self-interest in their inventory. And there's a certain sickness of inventory rather than trading. And I think that among themselves individually, I just showed you that Blue Nile is at like 44 below in a DVBS1 or 40 below or 38 below. Now, how the hell is Blue Nile at 38 below? Who's selling them? People are dropping prices. They just don't want anyone to know about it. They don't want people to know, but they want to drop the prices to sell. I can't work with them setting the prices, but communicating, yes. Having an advisory group, yes. But handing the price list over to people who are going to just, I don't want to be, not really be able to do the job, okay? No, so again, go to the rounding price list, no problem, okay? If the industry thinks that they can do a price list with the credibility, if they have a gumption to drop prices as necessary, and don't worry, it's an opinion. No one forces anyone to use the Rapaport price list. But if other people can come up with a good prices, God bless them. I have no problem. Okay. Now, since the trade has absolutely no idea what's in, not all categories of diamonds are trading 5 to 7. That's true, but we dropped them because we realized the discounts will still compensate for it. So we had an overall drop, as I explained earlier. Since the trade has absolutely no idea how your prices are set, well, now I pray you have a better idea. And given the further fact that you refuse to disclose the process of setting prices, which I hope this talk today explains better, although you're not going to understand how we do extrapolation, you may not understand how we do differential analysis. And then how then do you have the temerity to say that you are transparent? Well, if you look at this discussion that we had today, and if we in fact link wherever possible the diamond prices to the RapNet 10%, and if in fact we have those ranges that we're working with, and if in fact we send out the price list, the RapNet trade sheet, you will have as much transparency as I think you can get anywhere. If anyone else has better transparency, let me know. If you think we can do a better job, let me know. But remember, the Rapaport price list is based on our opinion. And if you don't like our opinion, don't use it. It's okay. Use something else. I'm not going to change the PDF file, but we are going to allow people to view things, and we'll see how we're going to do that. Can you, Josh, don't change the things so fast on me, please. Okay? I'll change it. Or I'll tell you when to change it. So in any case, no, we're not going to hand the PDF file. I imagine that all the things I'm talking too much. So all of those 500 Rapaport haters, boycotters, he said this, he said that, But I'm not going to share the PowerPoints. We rarely or ever do. But we will allow people to probably see this presentation at another time. The advisory board, we're just thinking about it now. We'll probably need some brave people because I imagine if we go down with prices as we have to, some of the advisory board people may run for the hills. But I don't know how many people yet, but it'll be good people that will provide good advice, who understand what we're doing and who are experts, and mostly a lot of suppliers, I would imagine, but also buyers. Again. Sir, one question. Just want to know when you will reduce subscription charges and your auction commission. We're never going to do that if I can help it. I imagine at some stage it'll go up. The cost of doing what we do is expensive, and we're a first-class operation, and we spend a lot of money doing what we're doing. And we're not going to, if you can't afford the Rapaport price list or something, it's okay. You're a fine person. Don't use Rapid, use the price sheet, but no. And our auction commissions are tight. And we have insurance that we do things correctly. So no, I don't think Rapaport's ever going to get any cheaper, to tell you the truth. Probably get more expensive as we go along. Mr. Rapaport, you have reduced the list average of 7% all sizes and categories. Your list is always too low in many categories already, and we couldn't but 10% cheaper in these categories. Well, I don't know. If we're too low, then I don't know who's selling Blue Nile. I don't know why we're looking at 50% discounts. So I think the list is too high, frankly. I think we've showed you those curves. So I'm not buying into that. I respect you, sir. I don't agree with you. I mean, by the way, if you think we're too low, we're too low, buy, buy. We'd love to see you buy and let us know. So if things are too low, go ahead, jump on them. But right now the discounts are sitting over the 40, over the 45 in many instances. So I don't see that as being prices too low on the list. I don't understand why you have to change the prices to reflect changes in discounts. Same thing we talked about discounts. Why do discounts have to be 30 to 40 or anything? Because why can't the discount just float? I just look why there has to be changes in the list. Well, if you have an 80% discount, any buyer going to trust you at all ever? There's a credibility and honesty issue over here. Why do I have to put my name on a sheet that gives you prices that are so high that they're totally irrelevant to the world? And I think there's an issue here. We are not here to protect the industry. We're not your psychologists. We love you. We care about you. But we care about the market, and we have a job to quote prices. So this idea that, there's one price list, let discounts go to 90%. And Mr. Rapaport, can you please tell all the buyers a bunch of lies so we can make more money and we can sucker them into thinking, oh, wow, I bought this at a big discount. No. Even as it is, I think we're too high. But 30 to 40 is reasonable. At least that's my opinion. And I say to you again, the Rapaport price list is based on our opinion. I discuss it with my guys as well, discuss it with the industry, etc. But that appears to be reasonable. And going to 45 because of coronavirus, also I'm not so comfortable. But let's have empathy. Let's be fair, and let's try to be careful. South Korea, Calvin Rapaport, same name. Will you publish any price sheets on investment? Yeah, I will. But I think the price information that we're putting out with the discounts is pretty good. The investment, I don't see an indifferent price sheet for investments. And I think that, if you look at the world today, if we're ever able to get our act together and have an honest bid-ask market, well, I'm not saying the market today is not honest, but say bid prices that are known. And I know we're working towards that at Rapaport, a RapEx environment. Then there'll be one price, but investors will come in. Think about it. Stock market to invest in is scary. Leaving money in the bank, what are you getting? 0% interest? Peanuts, maybe even negative interest in Europe. What are you doing with your money? Stuff it in your mattress. Okay. Leave it in the bank at 0 interest. Maybe. But, diamonds are going to start looking better and better as the other stuff doesn't look so good. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in the stock market. It may shoot up. It's bouncing up and down like a drunken sailor. But having said that, diamonds do have a role in investments. We just have to create a viable, fair, ethical, transparent, competitive, efficient market. We do that, we perfect that, we will have investors buying diamonds. Today, there is a lot of demand for DEFG and FL and IF less goods in market. Why did you reduce prices? Well, I got one right now for 50 below. You want to buy it? Give us a call. So I don't buy this idea that, now I too was selling above the list. I was above the list, but they're selling at good prices. What was the reason to reduce prices? Because we're reducing prices across the board. Why? Well, let's think. Did they just close stores, or did the market just drop in things that are not I2s? Okay. I'd say there's a general scenario in the market, so that's the same answer. I don't agree with you, sir. I respect you. I don't agree with you that there's lots of demand for DEFG and flawless and IF goods. You've got lots of demand. I think you would be doing the industry a favor by buying up those goods at 50 below. 48 below, 45 below. Come, buy, All right, Andy Natanov. How will you get data of actual transaction prices? I don't know. Actual transaction prices, as I've explained, are all over the place. They're bundled like nobody's business. Is it on memo? Is it on 90 days? Is it on cash? So much talk about transaction price. How do you expect to obtain that info? I don't know if we'll ever obtain all transaction price info. There's no real incentive for the buyers or the sellers to disclose all the transaction prices and to disclose who and how they did. Let's talk about the blockchain that might be able at some stage to do that and have a secret place where they keep those transaction prices. But, I've seen a crazy amount of stuff. I've seen people sell, a bundle of goods, and the FEVSs, they got list price, but on the other goods in the bargain, H's or D flawless, they sold it at 80 below. And And then they report it. Oh, look, I got a high transaction. So, you got to be careful here with these transaction prices to know what's going on. And if you're going to debundle them, you need experts to really understand it, like what we do. We watch the transaction prices. We love seeing them. We suspect them, and we have to then debundle them to get something that's reasonable, to understand what's going on. Anish Desai. If you are publishing a list to the industry, it needs to take into consideration dealer pricing and not the other dynamics you are mentioning, which I think is not even applicable, as you are putting a list for dealers and manufacturers and people in the trade. Well, I don't know what you mean by that. The RapNet is taking into consideration dealer pricing. Other dynamics, sure, we're taking into consideration other dynamics like transaction prices, bid prices, but mostly we're looking at asking prices, dealer asking prices as well. But there's a lot of stuff going on there. And remember the buyers, again, you're putting a list for dealers and manufacturers and people in the trade. Okay, people in the trade, I guess you would include buyers. So yeah, I do that. And maybe consumers even sometimes use a list too. So I think we have to be careful about that. Several days ago, you effectively lock out paying clients from accessing RapNet, demanding a ridiculous pledge and mimicking whatever the blackmail you were accusing others of. How do you justify this action? The fact that you took away this nonsense as quickly as you put it in is no answer. The offensiveness of your action remains and demands explanation. So good, Jeff, let me explain this to you. If we're in a market where my customers call me and say, I have been threatened by 20 phone calls that said, if you continue to list diamonds in RapNet, I'm going to stop you from getting credit, and I'm going to tell all the members of our blackmailing, and I say blackmail, when I say blackmail, I mean blackmail. Because what we're going to do is we're going to boycott you as well. I imagine you saw the thing I put out there on that, Telegram thing where they say that if anyone does business with Rapaport, we're going to also not do business with them. Okay. That's the definition of blackmail, Mr. Jeff. Okay. Now, when I see that happening to our members, our community, our people, I'm not going to tolerate that. So we're not going to tolerate blackmail, and we're not going to tolerate people coming onto our system, entering our system, using the system to identify people who are selling diamonds, and then threatening them, no credit, no supply of goods, no memo. Not going to happen. Now, I came up and wanted to do this because I felt that people should know that when you're trading on RapNet, you're not trading with a bunch of blackmailing, blacklisters, evil people. Evil. I use the word evil here, okay? No, I don't want them on RapNet, okay? And that's not an acceptable behavior. And I would say to you, as the former president of the diamond manufacturers and a good friend of Mr. President Ronnie, shame on you for not speaking out against such efforts by people to say you can't list diamonds in RapNet. Cat got your tongue? So I think it's very important that we have an honest trading network, and we will do whatever it takes to defend RapNet. Now, the reason that we put that thing up there was because I tried to say, hold it. If you're using RapNet, please don't boycott our members. But according to you, that's okay. All right. So I imagine if you have a club or an organization and people in your organization then threaten other people to be boycotted or blackmailed, that's okay. Well, I don't have your values, Mr. Jeff. Okay. And I think what's going on here is very wrong. But what can I do? It's a free market. It's a free world. I don't mind if people use other trading networks. That's fine. But I do mind if people try to force people off of RapNet. I think it's the most unethical thing that I can see. And I challenge leaders of the industry to put their mouths onto this and speak about it, because it's not right. Rather than attacking me for saying, please don't boycott our members. And you'll see later, I did ask everybody, I said, do me a favor, everybody. This is what's going on. I plead with you as a personal favor, buy from people listing diamonds on RapNet. That is the way that you can support Rapaport, and you can make my wife happy, take some of the heat off of me. I'm standing here alone. And I think that the buyers appreciate what we're doing, and I really would appreciate your support. All right. Vaibhav Kotari. You keep saying RAP prices are an opinion, but it's an opinion you publish, you push on the trade. Oh, I do. For example, most dealers have agreed to use March 6th list as the benchmark. Go right ahead. But you won't give apps, like EasyCalc, which are used individually, permission to switch to those prices for those asking. I'll talk to Savile about that. But My view is that if you're going to use Rapaport prices, we have the current list. If you want to use another price list, go ahead. The question as to whether or not other apps should have it, it's a good question. And maybe they should be able to do it. I'll talk to Savile about that. He's in charge of those things. But we do want to avoid confusion. But my belief is everybody should set the prices any way they want. Use any list you want. You want to use a list from 10 years ago? Do that. There's a tremendous amount of freedom that people have to price any diamond any way they want. So I'm definitely a supporter of that. The idea that with the percentages can get confused and part of the war against Rapaport price list, and there is a war. I think it's ridiculous. You drop 7% when the market's down 30%, but I think it's ridiculous, but okay, it's my opinion. But this war is, if you can't beat them, confuse them, and that might be a reason. So the discounts that we use are discounts to Rapaport, but I think people should use per carat prices if you don't like Rapaport. And I'm not pushing this. This is my opinion. If you don't like it, don't use it. Understand? I'm really clear on this. Like I said, let's ask President Ronnie to make his prices. Okay? So let's see that happen. Use another, make your own prices. Okay? But the fact that we do issue a price list takes a lot of responsibility, and that's what we've been doing for 42 years. Okay, next case. Diamonds are not like the stock market. I think you need to put the analogy into consideration. And, you know, you're right. All diamonds are different. All bonds are different. All stocks are different. But you're right. And the question about, do we have a market with bid prices and asking prices and a numeraire, a benchmark price, you know? Yeah, I think we do. So, you know, it's not exactly that. And when I show you the stock market's going down, it has a huge impact because of the wealth factor. In other words, when people who typically buy diamonds or invested in the market and it goes down 30%, it's reasonable to expect also a drop in demand. And it's not just expectation, we see it happening in real time. So we do look at the actual diamond prices as much as we can. Best 10 stones doesn't create the market as those are lucky stones. I don't know. And if they're lucky stones, then it's a lucky market, and that's something reasonable. Everyone was going to come with a story and say, my stone is better, it's unique, it's special. But we need to price the goods that are out there. So if you say, I'm a dealer in non-lucky stones, and therefore, if the regular discount is 40 below, or my diamond, I only sell you 30 below because my stuff's better, that's fine. Go right ahead. So, you know, these ideas that there's a benchmark price, though, could be based on, you call them lucky stones, is very possible. And you can even strengthen your argument because you've got feints in there. You know, so, whoa, mine's not, you know, mine is not feint. It's none, so it should be worth, instead of 40 below, 30 below. Or mine is BGM, you know, my stone, you know, there's going to be a lot of my stones are 140. Or my, you know, that's fine. That's the way the world works, which is why discounting against a benchmark price is the way that people reflect the uniqueness of their stones. But we need to hit a certain level of prices that we can deal with. Anonymous attendee. One has to take out first 10% and bottom 10% and use the bell curve to determine the price. Possibly, but I'm not sure about the high 10% because large firms often push prices in at ridiculously high prices and then use their salesmen to use the Rapaport system as a way of keeping inventory for what's floating around the world. So the average, the general average could be very misleading, but that is a way to do it. Look, I worked with some professors at Harvard, and you know, our general view was to look at the first quartile percentage stone, the individual stone. But after looking into the issue over some serious time, we found that that bottom 10% average is a pretty good indicator of, I hate to say transaction prices, but it's a pretty good indicator of where diamonds are. And don't forget, one of the things we're looking at all the time is what price can you put a diamond on the table and say, here it is, a decent diamond, a Rap Spec A3 diamond. So we're looking at that. But you know, you're entitled to review, and I don't think what you're saying is unreasonable. It's just not the way that we want to do it statistically. And we think we're better than. A niche decide. What about the stones that were never on RapNet and got bought by dealers? No one knows the discount on those sold stones. And there are many dealers that sell before they're listed. That's fine. And we're not quoting that. And again, there's discounts. There's questions about how do you relate to this benchmark price? Okay. And we're not telling you necessarily. So there are a lot of stones that are sold, and I don't know if they use or they don't use. You might have Chow Tai Fook buying goods directly. You used to have Signet buying goods directly. I mean, example, let's hope China comes back strong. Government is certainly trying to get and Chow Folks puts in their standard orders and certain goods go up very much, we'll feel it in the market because of the displacement effect. So let's say, I don't know, I'm using an example, I don't know specifically, but let's say some company doing business in China is buying 30 pointers, FGH VS1s. Zoom, all those goods get pulled out of the market. Well, you're going to see prices on the RapNet environment reflect that and go up in price. And as I told you, we do look at the quantity of diamonds always available. So we'll pick up on that if it's significant. But lots of people do lots of business in lots of places other than RapNet, and we're looking at what we see, and we think that generally other things that are happening are somewhat related. So that's what we would say. How many people, what groups being on the advisory? I don't know yet. I don't even know if anyone would want to have the guts to join it, given this sort of book action. As I think about it, we want to have some mixture, but really we're talking about experts. People really know diamonds, know the market, understand the discounts, can point things out to us when we're making mistakes, okay, and can understand where we're going. So we're going to be, we're going to looking, probably people who have large listings in RapNet would be part of this, and we'll see who wants to join and how we can do it. But it's not an easy shot, and it will take time. Yes, but if we compare diamonds and gold, it goes up instead. You are not giving safety investment. Yeah, there's no safety investment here. The thing about an investment for diamonds, it's complicated beyond the scope of this discussion. But diamonds and gold, I do think you need a market. You see, if you got a diamond and every day you can sell it, and you have a high level of confidence you're getting a fair market value, that's what's necessary. That'll make the thing work. Why do you think we need a Rapaport price list at all? There are willing buyers, willing sellers. Let them just post their diamonds on your platform for whatever price they want for their diamonds. That's fine, and they can do that. They don't have to use the Rapaport price list. The fact that benchmark prices fill a certain need in the market, and what I call numeraire prices, that's just a fact, and people pay for it. But yes, if people don't want to use the Rapaport price list, that's fine. Nothing stops them from doing that. And I think the idea, though, that you understand the relationship among different stones and the rankings and stuff. But yeah, you can have a trading network that doesn't have. Maybe that's what the World Federation of Diamond Bourses will do. It's fine. I'm not opposed to not having a prices. But if it's a market, I think there's a good market for it. It lasts 42 years at least. So I think we'll be okay. But you're right. People don't have to use it. Finally, what is wrong with the discount being premium rather than a discount? Keep the list fixed and just adjust the discount premium as the chips fall. Okay, I mean, that's the same argument we talked about a number of places. And very reasonable, knowledgeable people keep bringing this up. And the reason is because buyers need a regular list. So do other people. And the fact that those discounts might be there, and now we're pushing out discounts. So I would imagine more people will use those RapNet trade sheets to look at the discounts. And I think people do it already. So that's fine. But the market in general, are we talking to retailers? Are we talking to buyers? Are we talking to consumers? And we are. So this umbrella that I built is a lot of people under it. So I think people need to see that and not just discounts. And, there's a lot of people that hide the prices. Do it in a way and you discount. Not for me. So that's the issue. Can you hide it? Can you have discounts? We're going to be very straightforward and transparent about diamond prices. And that's what we do. And even, like this call. All right. I am an Indian. I completely agree with your drop in prices. I am with you on this. But my question to you is, why would you wait? Why would you wait to drop it after your auction? I didn't wait to drop it after the auction. The auction continued after the price list, and we called everybody to make sure that they wanted to withdraw their bids. China being closed for 5 to 6 weeks prior to the auction should have already reflected the price drop. Just want to understand your logic. No judgment here. Well, thank you for your message. No, we do not. We are very careful about auctions and prices. And, if people want to bid at an auction, we will not change the price on them. We'll let them know. And also, I'm very glad now we do it once a month, but people know that prices change. And in this case, we called everybody and said, hey, prices went down, And as I told you, 2019, we changed prices 8 times. 2018, 5 times. 2020, 2 times. So we don't hold people they say the price list, we say renew your bid, check your bid, price went down. So we do that. Now, in some instances, we may do auctions and finish them before the price list changes. And we will not decide or do anything. And we also don't base our prices solely or even majorly on auctions because, as I've explained, our single stone auctions do not have that many stones that are relevant for what we're looking for on the price list. They're mostly chips, nicks, refairs, recuts, etc. I will say we have a jewelry auction sometimes, okay, which is jewelry, which has nothing to do with the diamonds. We're talking about emeralds, rubies, all kinds of stuff where the diamond component is not sufficient to change the bids. And those auctions do take place, and we are going to do more of them. But that, again, we're not, this, I would say, this disgusting comment by our friend President Ronnie. The time has come to diffuse and diminish the Rapaport's overwhelming and indeed conflicted control over our industry. No conflicted control, Ronnie. If you've got it, show me where. So these are personal attacks. They're unacceptable. So this rumor, we're conflicted because of auctions, I'm sorry, it's just not true. We're very, very careful about how we do our auctions. We're very careful about how the price list comes out. And we're very careful about everybody knowing what we're doing so that, in fact, they can do it. In this case, the auction closed on Wednesday after we went down with the price list. And we called everybody. We said to them, the prices went down. Do you want to withdraw your bid? Okay. Anonymous attendee. As said previously, whom do you contact in Surat and Mumbai in order to get aware of the market trends? We have teams in both places that talk to suppliers on a regular basis. I can't give you names because I'm afraid they'll get harassed by some of the more ethical people in the diamond industry. But I do assure you we have people that's their job. What is A3? A3 is a specification that we publish. If you go to diamonds.net, look for specifications. If you get a Rapaport magazine, if you send us an email to prices@diamonds.net, we can send it to you. If you go on the internet and you type in, I think, Rapaport specifications, you can see it. But it's very detailed. It talks about the depth percentage, table percentage, the girdle, all kinds of gemological parameters of the diamonds. So A3 is a specification. It's a standard. It describes the things. For example, has to have a GIA grading report. It's one of the requirements to be an A3 diamond. You are contradicting yourself. For example, 150 ISIT RBC Spec A3, we're not trading at less than 40 below. To warrant an 8% drop in price. I'll look into that. And if that's true, 150 ISI2, I'll talk to our team about it. But do me a favor, if we are, will you buy it, please? Okay? So I'm not, people say all kinds of things. We can go through there. You can go on to RapNet. You can punch it up and you can see if there are diamonds for sale at 40 below. And if you send us an email, prices@diamonds.net, we'll come back to you. And either if you're right, we'll look into it. And, but I would say to you that, I think they are. Okay, I respectfully disagree with you, but we're happy to look at it. And that's the kind of information we like. I like the fact when people come and they say, hey, you're wrong here, check it out. Because we spend millions of dollars doing what we do, and we're happy to look for our mistakes and fix them. So we'll look at it. Now, would I still go down? Yeah, I don't know what it was trading at. And if it was at 35 or 38 below, and now we dropped it, so maybe the market will go to 30 below. But we'll look at it, and we'll see. And if you're right, we'll think about what to do. All right? Why is a 50% discount mark the point in which the wrap price must be revised? Why not 40 or 60? Well, I would say to you that the 50% discount is an example of where you start getting dishonest and where you start saying, 1 minute here, it's too high. Now, who makes that decision? We do. It's our opinion because my name's on it and I put something out there. But think about it, 50% discount, and then they're still, sometimes selling below what they've got there. How credible is that? And I showed you an 83% spread between the two, between the Rapaport price list and the RapNet prices. So that's also, and it's historically high. So, that's something that is my opinion, our opinion, and that's where we start saying. So I am saying 30 to 40 is where we're going to be. Now, you may like it, you may not like it, but that's where we're going to be. And I tell you, it would be for Rapaport specification A3. Now I'm saying, okay, there's coronavirus out there, give it to 45. Oh, why am I doing that? Who has the right to say that? I do. It's my opinion. And it's our price sheet. If you would like to make a price sheet that has goods at 60 below or 80 below, or go ahead. There's plenty of paper and ink, and there's plenty of stuff to do. I mean, We spend the millions of dollars to do this, but you're welcome to come in and join the club. Boycotting is not correct. Each person should make their own decision, and I thank you for that. And the thing about the boycotting, which is a greater problem here, was they didn't just boycott and say, I'm not putting my goods. They said, if anyone else puts goods, we're going to pressure them. We're not going to deal with them. That is like the worst. That is, and again, I'm surprised that ethical people don't speak out against that. So how would you envision diamond grading supporting this blockchain in the changing market? I think the diamond grading, first of all, has to be good. I think the blockchain is very interesting. I do say garbage in, garbage out. So it's important that whatever you put in and you know what it is and that it's honest and correct. But I like the blockchain idea. It's a great way. It's an accounting system, that's all. But diamond grading, simply defines the diamond. So I don't know if you need the blockchain for that, but it's also good because there's a certain chain of custody, if you want to call it. And we're going to be supporting that. People don't like it, but we will be putting indications on RapNet eventually, which indicate that we know where the source of the diamond is. We know what rough it came from. I think that the idea of ethical sourcing and supply sourcing is going to become more and more prevalent now. People want to know where their goods are coming from, and that's going to keep happening again and again. And I must say, I am concerned for our Indian friends. I'm sitting here in Israel, locked in my house. I don't know how long it's going to take. I know 21 days now, Prime Minister Modi, and I think it's smart. He's very smart. They're doing the right thing. Everybody got to save your lives here. So we don't know, but I don't know what's going to happen to diamond supply in that area. And then people thinking about what is the supply chain for diamonds. And about 93% of the diamonds come from India. So India is a very important market, very important place, very important people. And we have to really work with them and see what's going on. Blockchain will help us to identify, maybe sources to some degree. But again, garbage in, garbage out. So you have to make sure that it's just an accounting system. Who will be on the advisory board? I don't know. How will you pick them? I'm going to look for experts. How many people? How many groups? I don't know yet. And it's not a democracy. It's an expertacity. We're looking for experts, okay? And we're looking for people who can advise about specific things like, hey, Rapaport, the discount here is too low or too high, or you should go up or down, or stuff like that. And also to look at what we're doing and say, yeah, I have an opinion, I have this, I have that. We have a good, great, fantastic team of people that have been working on our prices and our price lists. And we have a lot of data and very devoted people. We're up sometimes at 3 in the morning here working. And they have a tremendous amount of expertise, and we're doing it for 42 years. But we're open, we're listening, we're here, and we're trying to standardize things in certain ways that everyone can understand what we're doing. Why did you go down? Well, if you see 47 below, don't be surprised if the price list goes down. You see 25 below, 28 below, don't be surprised if the price list goes up. Don't be surprised. And I think people are angry a lot of times because they're surprised by what we do, like here in this case. So we're going to try to get rid of that or, deal with it. I will say to you that this new way that we're going to be doing things will cause more changes in the price sheets. So you may see a lot more than, say, 80 year or something changes. Why would you come up with synthetic diamond Rapaport prices for rounds and fancies? No. And it's because we think that synthetic diamonds are a scam and a sham, because there's no basis to their ability to store value, because they're going to be producing these things, cranking them out like ping pong balls. So, the idea of a diamond, as I kept saying, is to store value. And so I believe that. I really do. And so they're not in the same game. So I'll put out a price list. It'll go down and it'll go down again. What happened with synthetic rubies, synthetic emeralds? So I'm just not a believer in that. And I don't like mixing the things up. So I'm not into that. But other people are making trading networks for synthetic diamonds, price lists for synthetic diamonds. I think they did the same thing with synthetic emeralds at the time. And, it's a free world, but not for me. Will rough price change? Well, I think so, but you never know what these rough guys are going to do. They have their own markets. They have their own worlds. I think that rough prices are artificially high. I have called on them to drop prices by 50% several months ago. The reason is to flush profitability into the business. And I imagine that if people stop buying rough, it'll change. I think if this credit scam, sham, bam, stuff that's been going on, if that dies, then in fact, maybe rough prices will get natural and normal. But I don't know. It's a question. I question why people buy rough and can't make money making on the polished. I question that, and everyone says, "Oh, yeah, there's no profits." So I don't know why people are doing non-profitable things. So there may be all kinds of other things going on there. So I would question that. But I would tell you, don't buy rough, buy polished. If there's an excess supply of polished in the market, please buy the polished. Support the market. Get the prices up. Okay? Why buy rough and pour more fuel onto the fire? Okay? Buy polished that's cheap. I can't say that enough. Buy polished that's cheap. Please buy polished that's cheap from RapNet members. Okay? Support the market. Buy polished. Okay? Are we expecting two different prices from the RapNet soon? No. One for buying the fresh goods? No. No, diamonds are diamonds. And fresh goods, buy back? No. No. You say buy back, you're referring to recycled goods. There's one market now. People who are selling diamonds in the recycled market, or you're calling the buyback market, they're different because Mrs. Jones is 85 years old. Her husband is 91, and she wants to, send her great-granddaughter to college, or her children don't want her diamonds. They don't want it. They don't understand it. They don't like it. And she wants to sell. And she doesn't care about the price that much. She is what we call a motivated seller. She's not looking at rough prices. She's not looking at what it cost her 40 years ago. That's an extreme case. There are millions of consumers that are going to send billions of dollars of diamonds and jewelry over the next 10, 15 years. Because there's 97 million Americans over the age of 65 and something like 27.3 million Americans over the age of 75. People want to send their grandchildren to college. There's needs for money. So I'm anticipating, that business developing. Now, will these people sell at a lower price? Yeah. Will there be a separate price sheet for them? No. It's the same diamond. But you might, jewelers in the United States of America are surviving on the recycled business. They don't need to deal with our friends who are manufacturing and that I need a diamond. I have to go and buy a diamond that came from rough. They can buy it off the street. And instead of buying it maybe, 30, 35 below or something, they'll buy it 35 of prices. And then they could double the price and still sell it for 70. So, it's a world market, and there's a lot of people with a lot of motivation. So the most profitable sector of the diamond industry, in my view, is and will be the buyback market. So creating a market for that, which is what we do with our auctions, is the way to go. Richard, what happened? You just jumped up on this thing over here. Solomon, I would like to see.
We'll go this one, yeah.
Oh, what happened? There was something there a minute ago. Okay.
Just it's a repeating question. Yeah, repeating.
Okay. Hope all is well. Don't suspend the price list at all. I'm not suspending the price list. I'm making it monthly, and I'm giving you additional price information about discounts of the needle. Let the price indicate the market during this process. Those that have left did so on the whimsical notion of the WFDA. Look, I respect the Double World Federation of Diamond Bushes. God bless them. They should speak out against all kinds of blackmailing and boycotts, but whatever. The same federation that made numerous suggestions in light of lab-grown diamonds, albeit to the industry's detriment. Anyone leave that sign? No. So, Tov, and I thank you for your support. Those who left this request of their bourses. Bourses are telling people to leave RapNet. I don't know. That's a pretty big jump. I don't think so. At least I hope not. They will be back regardless of who's paying list or not. I grew up around the rappers. Don't falter, and the rest of us won't. I'm not going to falter. And we're very strong. And we didn't go back to an earlier price list, even though they threatened me and this and that. And I think we just have to tell the truth. And I don't know, what could happen. I don't know what will happen on RapNet, but RapNet is a lifeline. It is a fantastic market to get liquidity. And I don't think people are going to stop using RapNet. I don't know, but it's a free world. I'm not shooting anybody. One thing I'll tell you, no matter what happens, we're going to quote diamond prices the way we need to, the way we have for 42 years. And it's just an ethical thing for us to be honest about that. And so there's no way. And I thank you for your support. And by the way, everybody, if you can give us support, we'll be running some kind of a social media campaign at diamonds.com, honest prices. You can look at it, and we'll put out these little things you can put in social media and support us. And the most important thing you can do is please, when you're ready to buy diamonds, please buy on RapNet, support the RapNet people. Okay. Any other things here, Josh? Are we done? Oh, there's more.
I think we should give another few questions and then.
Okay, let's see. I don't mind doing questions if people want to hang out. Well, it is a while. It's almost 2 hours. Martin, with the changes you're making, is this not the time to also change the size parameters? Discounts of 4 years are not the same as 5 grains. Yeah, and there's a lot of discussions about having 7 caraters and 8 caraters and different prices. It's hard for us to make so many prices on the price list. However, On RapNet, you can search and you can say, give me the discounts or give me a trade screen for those specific items. So we will allow you or enable you to look for very specific sizes and get your discounts very well. That you can do. But the price list itself is not likely to include 4 grainers, 5 grainers, 7 grainers, and stuff like that. And I think it's okay for the world market to have more leeway about how they're going to be doing discounts and stuff like that. When you reduce prices, not necessarily the discounts will decline. Most times it has reverse effect, lower list price and more discounts. And that's a good point. And that is something that concerns us. And I mentioned before chasing our tails. I don't know how that's going to work now that we do it monthly. And I think that discounts may or may not decline. We're going to be careful about chasing the tail. We go down on the discount. And that's one of the reasons we'll talk to an advisory group. And in some instances, we might say, okay, let the prices be more. But again, over 45%, we can't support that. And if people go down, and I think it'll have to come to some kind of a balance here. Otherwise, discounts just end up going to 90%. But it's a good point. The psychological impact of what we do and how people relate to it is important. And we have to be aware of everything. We have to be aware of Blue Nile prices. We have to be aware of prices in Radnor. We have to be aware of what happens when we move and how the other people react. And that's one of the reasons I'm happy to go to this monthly. When there was a boycott, okay, and Rapaport is all about transparency, why does Rapaport has to invite people from backdoor and not other boycotting members know that they have joined back? This is like divide and rule. Price lists, if at all need to be published, shouldn't be more than 4 times max with their fixed quality quarterly dates. Well, I don't agree with you, sir. I definitely go to a monthly. I don't know what you mean about inviting people from backdoor. There's no backdoor. What we did do is we said, listen, if you're being harassed by these boycotters, which has been happening, you can list your goods anonymously. And I think some 30 or 40 firms have decided to do so. I think people should be able to list their diamonds without being harassed. And, I think it's very unethical and not correct behavior. But anyways, that's what it's happening. But there is no backdoor. And, and I don't know, boycotting, I'm not the police over here. I'm asking people to work honestly, ethically, correctly, and not harass other people. And RapNet is a community. And I'm demanding certain community rules of fair and correct behavior. I'm a member of a club, Harvard Club or other clubs, or the Diamond Club. You can't go into a Diamond Club and start yelling at somebody, change your prices or don't list or something. This is not acceptable behavior. And I don't think the World Federation is behind that, but what can I tell you? We are going to insist on a certain level of honesty and integrity and ethical behavior for all RapNet members because we are a community. In the midst of a highly unsettled market, what advice would you give to a private not needing money but wanting to sell? I would say wait, probably. Certainly wait now. I think that prices may come down. You really need a normal market with a reasonable level of liquidity. And the real name of the game for you is to get competitive bids. This is not a good time to sell. I'll tell you, I was at the Palm Beach show and I gave a speech and some very wealthy people came to talk to me. And they asked for my advice, and I told them to wait. And this was 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago. So I think this is not an ideal market situation to sell it. If you don't need the money, have patience and wait. Will you open your black box to independent audits of your process with a report published based? No, we're not interested in audits at this stage. If we do things like create an ETF, we probably will be audited. And we are audited as general from the Responsible Jewelry Council for all our activities, but not for the prices. Is the prices correct? And what are you doing? But we're putting out the discounts. You'll see it. And then you'll see the price list running out what's left. Very transparent over here in terms of seeing what's going on. But we're not in favor of audits at the stage because, well, it's not our game. It's not something I think we're going to do. How do you factor in high rough prices and manufacturing costs? Higher discounted polished prices and rapid oil reflection of liquidity pressures sometimes, but rough is still expensive. How to handle that? Can you please factor that as well? I can't factor in rough prices because rough prices are crazy, if not, I don't know how to describe this, dishonest. Doesn't make sense. I don't know if rough prices are based on strange credit deals or recycling. I don't know what the heck's going on with rough. It doesn't make sense to anybody. And I'm just dealing with polish. So no, I can't factor in rough. And anyone that's buying rough today instead of buying polished, I understand your factories, you want to keep people working. I'd say it's cheaper to take them on vacation. Um, I would not suggest buying rough and manufacturing instead of buying polished, assuming you have polished customers. The idea that manufacturing makes you money by default is wrong. So no, I'm not going to factor in rough prices. What is the best 10%? So let's assume you have 300 diamonds, say FVS 100 or something. The lowest, the 300, 10% is 30. Take a look at the 30 best priced diamonds. That would be 10% of the 300. If on, I don't know, KVS ones, you've got 200 diamonds, 20 diamonds. If you got 200, 500 diamonds, 50 diamonds. What you do is you take a look at the 10% of the diamonds that are priced the best on Rapid, and then you look at the average. When you show the 8084 minus, is that the actual price, including decrease of the 55%, or do we need to no, that's the actual price, and the price works out to be 55%. There's no deflosses at 55% below the 8,000. That would be like 3,000 or something. No, that means that that diamond, which exists, I don't even know why it's still there. Someone should please buy it. But that diamond is at 8084 per carat, and it is equal to 55% below the Rapaport prices at that time. I think now we dropped the price, so it came down. Maybe it's 48 or 50 below. You have to check. Nikki Novello, retailer from Cleveland, Ohio. Hello, Cleveland. I hope you're being careful and staying home. Are you communicating with retail stores when determining prices, excluding? Yes, we are talking to retailers, and we're not necessarily getting that much information from them because they're not dealing in the quantities, but it is a good idea, and we will do more. And if you're available, we'd love to talk to you as well. And we want to do more surveys. We want to do more digital work. So yeah, I think we should. I don't know if we're doing enough of it now. And I really think it's a great question, and it's a great thing to do. And my team who's listening to this call at 9 o'clock Israel, 9 p.m., please make a note of this. Okay. Why are people trying to retaliate for lower price by banning a trading platform? What's the connection? They want to stop us. This guy said, don't advertise with Rapaport. Don't use Rapaport grading gemological services. Yeah. They want to kill me. They would just like to stop Rapaport. One guy was calling here. He says, this is our chance. This is our chance. We can finally get rid of this guy. Maybe I'm too old for the millennials that are there, although we have a lot of millennials working in our 230 people team. But they want to get rid of me altogether because they don't like someone shining a light into the darkness when there's crisis or tough time. They don't like the idea of transparent pricing. They don't like the idea of publishing prices. They would prefer to work in a world where people don't know what the prices are. That's what I can say to you. So that's what's going on here. Diamonds are not as liquid as gold, as is well known. Then how can it be promoted that way? Make it liquid. Let there be a market that every day you can sell a default Rapaport specification, A3 or A2, and here's the price, here's the price, here's the price. And actually, we're trying to do that, and we will try to make that happen. You're not being responsive. Wow. I've seen asking prices float from 50 to -3, or even list price from manufacturers. Why do you use an example of 80 or 90? What about +10? Yeah, I guess you could have prices at +10 if, in fact, the market is paying that. We did have scenarios when there was very big speculation, where the 3 carriers were 20% above the list. We went up and warned everybody, and that was before the big crash of 2008. But yeah, that could happen. Now, if you get prices at above, at the price list, and it's a regular A3 stone, you can pretty be sure we'll go up with prices. And that's dangerous. You start a cycle, a speculative cycle. I've seen it both ways. I've seen cycles where people went down. I've seen cycles where people went up. And I'm happy if people want to pay 10% above or 10% or whatever. But I do think having a range of discounts is helpful for people to understand what is going on with the price list, and it's keeping it in a certain rational basis. But yeah, and people should sell whatever they want. No one's locking you into any discount, and no one's locking you into the Rapaport price list. And again, it depends on your terms and conditions. If you're a retailer selling diamonds in Rodeo Drive, and people are making you crazy, and they're coming and they're looking and they're coming and they're loving it, you may be selling at 20 above Rapaport. It's fine. That could happen all the time. I think movie stars tend to pay above Rap. Maybe it really depends. So what your terms and conditions in your market is, and what are you investing? How are you adding value to the document? If you're selling stuff with a tremendous amount of design, and that's great. Adding value is wonderful. Make whatever price you like. What do you think? What do you think should be discount structure for different segments of the industry? I don't know, and I would hesitate to do anything like that in the area of like price advice or even, people should do what they want. And I tell you that this whole structure of the industry is breaking apart. So many manufacturers are selling consumers, many are not. You have a world where Tiffany is cutting diamonds. You have a world where De Beers is opening stores. There is no structure. This is a dealer, this is a manufacturer. Everybody's tripping over everybody else. And that's also the internet who has created that.
And Mark, I think
Okay.
we'll take the next two questions and we'll finish the next two questions. This
All
one.
right, yeah, we don't want to kill everybody here. We don't want to kill me either. And I'll have a closing statement. Why don't you just freeze the price leads, the 10, 312, protect the market, and keep saying that you support, you provide a benchmark, and that's it, because like I said before, the buyers. And my job is not to protect the market. And by the way, it's an interesting point. Is the market protected when we tell the market the prices are going down, be careful, buy goods cheaper, know what you're doing? Is that not protecting the market? If we're in a situation where there's danger, and Rapaport says, there's danger, everybody, that's not protecting the market. It's protecting the market, maintaining a false, crazy illusion that things are higher than they are. I don't agree with that. And I don't agree that prices are more important than transactions. We're doing business. So this idea that we fix ourselves on transactions and we believe in them even though they're not transactions. We fix our prices on inventory prices and we fall in love with them. I think it's evil. I think it's bad. I don't think it's healthy. But, you're entitled to your opinion. But I'm not into that idea of, doing that. Now, why not remove yourself from the craziness of the market and support the dealers by allowing to sell their goods at whatever real market prices they're allowed to stay liquid? Sell. No one is not stopping you from selling your goods wherever you want. God bless you. Sell at whatever price you can. Okay? And no one is telling you to use Rapaport. Oh, Mr. Rapaport, don't tell any buyers what's going on here because we really want to sell in ways that the world is blind. No, I don't know. Not going to happen. Well, maybe you can find some people who don't have a price list. You can try to sell them. I don't know. But the bottom line is that we're not here to protect the market. We are here to quote diamond prices, which, by the way, we think protects the market because it provides confidence that this is real. But you can do whatever you like. Then resume the prices in a month or whenever. Okay. So I'm not know the crisis is over, but we will go to monthly. So we are trying to be, to have empathy, to understand and do it. But we're doing it for other reasons because we believe the right thing to do is to have a monthly price list and to put out these discounts. I appreciate your leisure honesty with these difficult times. Thank you very much, Luis. I appreciate it. Now, first of all, thank you very much. What you do was necessary, correction. At the end of the day, if someone did not want to use the list, it's free not to, that I agree with. I was myself asked why I did do advertise with Rapaport. I think it's a free market. Martin, go ahead. Thanks again. Thank you, Joanna. I really appreciate your support. Okay, so Joshua here, my main man, is going to shut down the questions. You can still send questions. And, I have tried my best to be transparent here and also to answer the 500 emails that came in, a lot of them very nasty, about the changes in prices. But I do think that we should be transparent what we're doing. Nothing is perfect. I don't know what's going to happen. I tell you, I'm thinking about my employees and we can have, what's going to happen and how do we keep things going in these difficult times. I thank the American government for paying us two and a half times our current salaries to keep things going. I worry about people. These are very uncertain and difficult times. And I worry about all of us. Publishing prices that are lower, again, I say I don't think that is relevant to what's happening right now, except people are not trading, but it's necessary in my view. But it's not about prices. It's about people. It's about, we have to care for each other somehow. And we don't care for each other by selling illusions or making believe things are what they're not. But we do have to care for each other. And we have to be careful. And we have to make sure we really don't go outside if you don't have to. We have to bear down. We have to move into a digital world. We have to communicate with each other. I'm trying to do these webinars more often. We'll try to do a lot of things. Maybe we'll have a webinar wine party before Passover. But I think that these are very difficult times, and my heart goes out to people. And I'm concerned. I'm worried. I'm worried about everybody. I'm worried about our people as well. But I honestly and truly believe this too will pass. And we will be in a situation where we'll look back at this. We got to be careful. The world will change. The world's going to be different. And no question about that. We're not going back to where we were, at warp speed, boom, new space. But diamonds will be diamonds if we protect them. We're honest about them. People will be people. Trade will exist. And we need to support that. Not by, in my view, having high prices. We need to support each other by helping each other. Our role at Rapaport is going to be to do everything we can with our considerable resources and connections and members to create liquidity, to make sure people can sell diamonds. Prices, I don't worry about. Ability to keep the flow of diamonds going, and that's what we're working on. But I respect everybody. And really, my heart goes, even the people who are boycotting us. I'm sorry that they feel that way, But I understand they're under pressure. What can you do? So I hope that things will get better and that the bad vibes will dissipate. We will, in any case, continue doing what we're doing, and we really thank everybody, and we're thinking of everybody, and we'll try to increase our digital communications. Probably have more of these webinars. Maybe not with me, because other people have to communicate more than just me. And we will do our best to be correct. And look, we're not God. We're not perfect. We're not controlling. We have an opinion. Rapaport has 42 years of opinion. We could be wrong. We could be right. But that's what it is. And I'm not thinking I know more than everybody, but I do recognize that sometimes 999 people say one thing and I say another. That can happen. And I am very much believing in protecting and supporting buyers. I think that the key to the future of the diamond industry is to take care of the customers, the buyers, consumers, retailers. These guys, they're on the front line. And we need to make sure as an industry that we don't just do what's good for the dealers or the manufacturers. I don't want to say that buyers are more important than suppliers, but at this stage, I think they are, because they got to be supported so that someone's going to buy the goods, so there's liquidity. Our greatest fear is that liquidity isn't there and no one wants to buy these diamonds. And then price can go to a free fall. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we're going to work on that to make sure there's a liquid market. And again, I sign off with what I always say. We are very much for ethical, transparent, competitive, efficient markets. Thank you all very much, and God bless you. And we pray for your health and the health of your families.
Thank you very much. Bye.